Hi, I'm Representative Mike Johnson, and I have the privilege of having been the founding president of the Rapides Children's Advocacy Center in CASA. You hear this all the time, that it was one of those God things that came about. I had two small children at the time, was not really that aware of any of the child abuse problems in the parish, and I was in court. And so my case was way down the line, and I was drinking coffee in the back, and Judge Ray Swint, who was handling some cases at the time, walked out into the hallway and said, "I need a lawyer." So she was bringing me into a situation where there were allegations of abuse. But I was there basically to represent this little 7-year-old girl. But I was just haunted by it. And I went home and talked about it and kind of thought, it really bothers me, but someone's taking care of this. That little girl will be okay. And then I had a trial a few weeks later in front of Judge Henry Lemoyne, who at that time was handling the juvenile courts. And after we got through, he said, "I want to ask you, would you be interested in talking to me about a project that I'm looking into?" And I said, "Sure." And he put me in touch to a group of ladies, and they were just discussing in concept the idea of trying to do something about a child abuse case. So I went to a couple of meetings, and I began the journey of learning about the fact that we had so many cases of neglect and child abuse that you never read about in the paper, because so few of the cases were being prosecuted. And the reason they weren't being prosecuted is because if the child was suspected of having been abused, most people, if they would report it, would call the police department. So they would in many cases, have to bring the child to the police department. Well, that's scary, and it's intimidating, and it's not child friendly. And then when they got through, the Office of Community Services would want to interview the child. And then when they got through, if they had enough to prosecute anybody, then the district attorney's office would want to meet with them. So by the time we got through trying to help the child, we were victimizing the child so much that the parents just said, "Look, let's just don't go any further with this. Instead of doing 5 interviews, why can't we do it one time?" But the biggest thing was getting people to be willing to give up territory to one another for the purpose of the child. So even more important probably than getting the money for the center and building the building was getting those people together. And that was the first milestone we really had. And that was just the start. That was when we formalized the concept and got the community to buy into it. I've never been involved in something where people volunteered. People came to you to be a part of it, because it seems as though everyone had an experience, or they knew of an experience, and it touched them. And people were coming from everywhere to either be a part of our board or to help us raise money. And I have just been amazed in all these years later how much it's grown, how much it's done for children, not only in Rapides Parish, but what's really a great thing for somebody that was involved initially is that now it handles parishes surrounding central Louisiana. It's been probably the most, of all the things I've ever done, it will be the thing that I am most proud of and that I still care most about. And I'm just proud of the people who've carried on what we envisioned to take it beyond what we even could conceive. And just so thankful for those who continue to care about our children and continue to give and support and devote their life to making a difference.